At 10 o'clock that morning, 13-year-old Jamie Miller was abruptly summoned by the police. "Jamie Miller, it's 6:15, and we are arresting you for murder," they announced. It was hard for anyone to believe that such a small, frail teenager could commit such a heinous crime. Yet, the police were unyielding. Jamie was so terrified he wet himself, forcing the officers to allow his father to change his clothes before they took him to the police station for questioning. Jamie's parents were utterly bewildered. How could a child so frightened he soiled himself be a murderer? They repeatedly insisted, "Our son is a good boy at home, there must be some misunderstanding." Was it truly a misunderstanding? It was the police's responsibility to ascertain that. Despite Jamie being a suspect, the police still escorted him from their home amidst his parents' tearful pleas. In the car, Jamie remained quiet and obedient. He looked back at his parents through the window, fear etched on his face. "I know this is difficult, but try to calm down, okay? Just try to be calm." Once they arrived at the police station, Jamie finally began to compose himself. His first words were a denial of guilt. "I didn't kill anyone." "That's not my concern, Jamie. Just answer my questions, kid," the officer pressed. Jamie's parents were still reeling, but they too had to come to the station. However, the police didn't disclose the case details to them, only informing them that Jamie wanted his father to be his appropriate adult. What's an appropriate adult? They wondered. An appropriate adult is a guardian who participates in interrogations and blood sampling with a minor suspect. Jamie's mother disagreed. "He's my son. Why would he choose his father for this?" The police offered no further explanation. Jamie's mother grumbled a few more times but eventually accepted the decision. Finally, the lead investigator, Detective Bascom, gave them a stern warning. "If your son says anything related to the case to you, or anything that led to this incident, you must report it to the police." Jamie's father had no idea what to make of this. A few minutes later, the father finally got to see his son. "I believe you're innocent," he said. "No, of course, I believe you," Jamie replied. After that, they went together to meet their lawyer. The lawyer meticulously reviewed the police procedures and managed to glean a few more details. "Good, I heard they need a blood sample," the lawyer noted. "That's right, he has scratches on his hand, and blood was found at the scene, so the request is reasonable," the police confirmed. The victim in this case had died at the scene, with numerous injuries, a truly tragic death that indicated an extremely brutal perpetrator. Jamie, the primary suspect, was asked to remove his pants for examination. His father was aghast. "Don't you think this is going too far? Imagine if you were 13 and two grown men were staring at you like that." His protests were useless. He could only watch helplessly as his son underwent the examination. "All right, I need you to lift your genitals so we can check for any injuries there," the next chilling instruction came. At that moment, Jamie's father was consumed by a whirlwind of confusion, humiliation, rage, and utter helplessness. Every negative emotion imaginable tormented him. During Jamie's police interrogation, his lawyer's advice was simple. "Whatever they ask, just say I have nothing to say, all right? I have nothing to say, that's all." Detective Bascom was in charge of the case. He'd found that Jamie's academic performance was quite good. He was a smart student. Bascom asked Jamie if he had close friends. Jamie said yes, but when asked for names, he simply replied, "I have nothing to say." Bascom then shifted to questions about Jamie's romantic life or sexual relationships. On Jamie's social media, he'd shared a few posts from attractive models. Jamie admitted he liked them but had never been intimate with anyone, explaining they were too old anyway. This line of questioning led to a new discovery: photos Jamie had posted on his social media account. His next answers flowed more easily. He admitted that the two boys in the photos, Tommy and Ryan, were his friends. The three of them often hung out, and they were also classmates. "All right, did you hang out with them last night?" "I have nothing to say." Bascom continued to press him about what time he got home. Jamie gave the same response: "I have nothing to say." Seeing his evasiveness, Bascom produced the evidence they'd found, a pair of Jamie's athletic shoes. Jamie claimed, "Those aren't my shoes." The female detective then showed him a picture of a girl. The girl in the photo, Katie, was the victim. She and Jamie were classmates. While not in the same class, they had attended a shared class once. Police tried to lead Jamie into discussing his relationship with Katie, but he only replied, "I have nothing to say." "Okay then. Friendship isn't that important. You won't talk about that, but why not?" Jamie reluctantly said he only knew Katie casually, they'd talked at school, but had no contact outside of it, no relationship beyond mere acquaintance. "Do you like her?" "No." The police's questions grew sharper, directly asking if Jamie had been intimate with Katie. His father interrupted, attempting to shield him by mentioning his minor status, but this was merely standard interrogation procedure. Jamie also denied it. Bascom then asked, "Did you go looking for Katie last night?" Jamie immediately denied it, saying, "I didn't kill her." But when Bascom showed him photos of Katie's deceased body, revealing she had been stabbed 7 times, Jamie uncomfortably looked down. The lawyer sensed a problem and halted the interrogation, requesting a break. However, Jamie's father, convinced of his son's innocence, insisted they continue. Bascom, not wanting to disappoint Jamie's father, then played a surveillance video. The footage from the previous night showed Jamie in blue and white athletic shoes, first meeting 2 friends, then walking alone for an hour before following another person. "It's clear you were following her. I'm asking again, why were you following her?" Seeing Jamie unwilling to speak, Bascom played another video, this one showing Jamie and Katie arguing. The video captured Jamie chasing and stabbing Katie several times. Jamie's father watched in stunned silence, while Jamie began to sob uncontrollably. Seeing Jamie lose control, The interrogation was temporarily paused, and both the police and the lawyer left the room. Only Jamie and his father remained. He cried, "Dad, that wasn't me. I didn't do anything." But his explanations were futile. Bascom couldn't get any answers from Jamie, so he went to his school. Jamie's two friends were also very worried about the situation. "Have they been to your house?" "Yes, they have." "Were they asking about Jamie?" "Yes." Coincidentally, Bascom's own son, Adam, also attended this school. Adam had texted his dad asking for the morning off, but Bascom ignored the message, leaving his strict wife to deal with Adam. Adam had no choice but to go to school, his parents simply thinking he was tired of studying. In reality, that wasn't the case. Adam received a call from Bascom, learning his father would be in his class soon. Immediately afterward, some students began throwing trash onto Adam's lunch tray. Adam was all too familiar with this. A short while later, Adam was cornered by another student demanding money. "Adam, give me some money, hand it over." In that situation, only a passing teacher intervened. The other students seemed completely indifferent, as if this was commonplace. Clearly, school bullying was a problem at this institution. Adam wasn't bullied every day, but tragically, his father, Bascom, remained unaware. Bascom arrived at the school and was warmly greeted by the teachers. He met Jet, Katie's best friend. Jet was clearly agitated by Bascom's questions. Everyone knows the police have a video of Jamie doing it, so why don't they just arrest him and investigate? Why are you asking what kind of person Katie was? What was her relationship with Jamie? Are they trying to blame Katie for her own death? Bascom tried to calm her down and explain, but Jet wouldn't listen. She even attacked Bascom personally by bringing up Adam. "Adam. Yeah, he's so ugly. You know what, he's a tiny little squirt." She became increasingly enraged. "Can I go now?" she demanded. "Please be polite." Bascom cautioned. "I don't want to be polite today. Can I go now, elementary school teacher?" she snarled. Bascom had no choice but to let Jet leave. Afterward, Bascom went to Jamie's homeroom and met his teacher. Bascom introduced himself and told the students to call him if they had any clues. After leaving the classroom, Bascom briefly updated his partner on the situation. "Even though we have strong evidence, if we don't find the knife, if we don't find the weapon, it means lawyers and judges will drag this case out. They'll be forced to solve the case thoroughly. They'll have to find the weapon. Plus, the current case lacks a motive. Everyone knows Jamie killed Katie, but why did he do it?" Jet's earlier reaction utterly confused Bascom. "I understand. I think Katie really hated Jamie." Bascom then went to the higher grade classes to search for clues. Adam was in one of these classes. Everyone stared at Detective Bascom, who was also Adam's father. The children's reactions made Bascom pause, but he continued speaking. Unexpectedly, before he could finish, the fire alarm blared, and all the students evacuated the classrooms. Bascom could only find Jamie's homeroom teacher to ask, but she was clueless. "Honestly, I don't know either. These kids are so hard to handle. What am I supposed to do?" Outside the school, there was trouble. It turned out Jet was hitting Ryan. "That monster killed my friend, that damn criminal." Students stood around, laughing and pointing, but no one intervened or offered help. They were all mocking him. Getting beaten by a girl, what a wimp. Bascom found Ryan to ask about Jamie, but Ryan was cunning and wouldn't say a word. After a lot of circumlocution, Bascom got nowhere. Adam called Bascom over. "Dad, you won't find anything because you don't understand anything." Then, Adam showed Bascom his social media account. On it, students used emojis that looked normal but actually held hidden meanings. The bomb emoji, the red pill, and the blue pill meant seeing what the world wants you to see. Bascom was utterly bewildered. Why are there secret codes involved? What do they want? Adam struggled to articulate it. Bascom realized he might have spoken too freely and fell silent. Adam then continued. "The red pill means seeing the real world. It's a call to action for these boys. Specifically, 80% of girls are attracted to a small 20% of boys. They believe that to attract girls, you have to be different, called an incel. And Jamie was mocked by Katie as an incel." Bascom was confused. Jamie is only 13. Why would he be called an incel? Does that even make sense? Whether it makes sense or not, that's how it is. I randomly looked at comments under 15 of Jamie's posts, and they were all different emojis but pointed to the same thing. This statement enlightened Bascom. It seems Jamie's motive for murder was because of this. Katie initiated the incel taunting. Jamie was always bullied by Katie. But Adam wasn't entirely sure since Jamie and Katie weren't in the same class. He told his father these things only because he didn't want him to waste time investigating aimlessly. Bascom just felt like a failure. From Adam's words and the students' reactions, Bascom seemed to sense that Adam was in a similar situation to Jamie, also labeled an incel and bullied by other students. Bascom asked Adam apologetically if that was true. Adam tried to remain calm, but his crestfallen expression confirmed everything. Bascom said goodbye to his son, his mood heavy. He thought, what are they learning in school? It's nothing but a cattle pen. Every classroom uses videos for teaching. Teachers come and go as they please. Bascom went to Ryan's classroom to continue questioning. But as soon as Ryan saw him, he bolted out the window and ran off. Bascom became even more convinced of his suspicions. This kid is hiding something. He immediately gave chase, caught him, and pressed him for answers. Ryan finally confessed, "That's my knife. I just wanted everything to go back to normal." This confession was enough to charge Ryan as Jamie's accomplice. The entire case seemed crystal clear. Bascom took a rare break from work, waiting outside the school for his son to finish so they could walk home together. I want to walk with you because I love you, he told him. For Bascom, the only benefit of this case was realizing how much he'd neglected his own son. Meanwhile, Jamie's father went to the crime scene and placed a bouquet of flowers in memory of Katie. 7 months later, clinical psychologist Bronwyn from the Psychological Training Center arrived at the police station. She was there to complete a report concerning Jamie. Jamie had been in detention for 7 months. He had always been quiet, but recently he had started fighting with fellow inmates. When Bronwyn met Jamie, they chatted comfortably, like friends. But Jamie stopped pretending. Why are you bringing me cake? I just feel curious, like you're trying to con me. Con you about what? Bronwyn wanted to know what Jamie thought of his father. The boy was very smart. To end this meaningless argument, Jamie simply said, "My dad is very good to me," to conclude the conversation. Jamie appeared to concede, but then he made a request. He wanted to see the psychological assessment report Bronwyn had written. Bronwyn smiled and refused this unreasonable request. Although she had been hired by Jamie's family, her report was for the judge to read, to help the judge understand Jamie better. In this situation, Jamie also understood that this report could significantly influence the judge's verdict. Finally, he adopted a better demeanor for Bronwyn, but he didn't know how else to behave, so he simply maintained a defiant attitude toward Bronwyn's questions. Bronwyn repeatedly failed but still smiled. Jamie was eventually pressed, then finally spoke the truth, starting with a simple question. In his eyes, his father was just a hardworking, tough plumber, resilient but not particularly interested in him, ill-tempered but at least he'd never hit him. As Bronwyn probed deeper, Jamie began to talk more about his father. His father liked sports, but Jamie didn't, yet his father forced him to play soccer. As he spoke, Jamie's expression became unnatural, his breathing rapid. But once I don't play well, he'll. It took a lot of mental preparation for him to say that his father would avoid him when he saw his failure, trying to hide his disappointment. His father's disappointment was a huge blow to him. In his answers, Bronwyn also gathered some information for her report. Do you think you're good at anything? No, I don't care. Jamie believed he wasn't good at anything, couldn't do anything, and even most people who tried to comfort him made him feel that way. But what depressed him most was that his accomplice, Ryan, could go home to await trial, while he was locked up in what looked like a mental hospital. As he spoke, he suddenly stood up. Jamie, please sit down. If you don't sit down, I won't know, or you won't want to tell me. Jamie furiously yelled, damn it. I don't want to sit. You tell me to sit, and I have to sit. This aggressive reaction startled Bronwyn, and a guard walked in. Bronwyn temporarily stepped out, then reviewed the camera footage to analyze Jamie's body language. After calming down, she returned to Jamie's room. I'm not the police, and I'm not here to get a confession from you. I just want to understand a few things. This time, Bronwyn primarily wanted to ask Jamie if he had ever been in a relationship, hoping to understand what kind of relationship he desired with girls, wanting to be like his father. In Jamie's eyes, he felt his mother was useless. But he liked girls and longed for a relationship. He even boasted that 2 girls had sent him nude photos. One of them even touched my thing, but I was wearing pants at the time. After saying this, Jamie began to ramble, claiming it was all made up. No one had touched his thing, and no 2 girls had sent him chest photos. He had only seen nude photos of 2 female classmates, and Katie was one of them. Was Katie one of them? The nude photo was indeed Katie's. She had sent it to a male classmate. As a result, this male student spread the image, and not only Jamie saw it. Bronwyn continued to ask, so, did you like Katie? Jamie denied it, saying Katie was flat-chested, not his type. After a few more questions, Jamie lost his temper again. Damn it. That's enough. That's not what I meant. You tricked me into saying that. He angrily stepped towards Bronwyn, even attempting to attack her, but a guard was promptly present. Seeing the tall guard approach, Jamie calmed down. Bronwyn was actually frightened by Jamie's volatile temper, but it was her responsibility to continue asking. This time, the questions became even more sensitive, related to the comments on Jamie's social media. He evaded, even verbally attacking Bronwyn. What does this old lady mean? How humiliating, to be scared by a 13-year-old kid. But it was useless. He finally had to answer honestly. These comments were all attacking and mocking me, and Katie was the ringleader. Why did she target you? Because I'm ugly. After the nude photo incident was spread, Jamie arranged to meet Katie. During the time everyone was buzzing about Katie, he felt sorry for her and then asked her, do you want to hang out with me? He thought Katie would be vulnerable at that moment and agree to hang out with him, and from then on, they could become friends. But he didn't expect Katie to like him because of it. Instead, she just laughed and mocked him, saying, I'm not that pathetic. That statement enraged Jamie. After getting this information, it was enough for Bronwyn, and she decided to end the conversation. Jamie, who had been arrogant moments before, now became self-conscious. He suddenly remembered he needed to appease Bronwyn so she would write favorably about him. Do you like me? But when Bronwyn didn't directly answer whether she liked him or not, Jamie got angry. The guards had to pull him out. After Jamie left, Bronwyn's suppressed emotion surfaced. Her eyes showed both worry and fear. Jamie was a child who grew up in tragedy. He embodied many societal and family problems. His hot-tempered, irritable father, who only cared about success, made Jamie imitate his irritable and insecure personality. He couldn't develop self-esteem and confidence under his parents' tutelage. At the same time, being bullied at school made him even more sensitive and prone to anger. But this wasn't the sole reason he murdered Katie. Clearly, he wanted to be liked by females. Not just with Katie, but also with the psychologist Bronwyn. He yearned for recognition and praise. Once he didn't get what he wanted, he would use violence and snarls to intimidate the other party. This was because he inherently disdained females, viewing them as inferior and subservient. Bronwyn couldn't help but be affected whenever she faced him. Bronwyn felt like thin, fragile ice, her life seemingly in danger. But luckily, she now knew how to write her report. It was Jamie's father's birthday, a day that should have been a happy family gathering. But his eldest daughter rushed in, panicked. "Damn it, Dad. Have you seen the car?" On the side of the car. When Jamie's father went outside, he discovered the car was defaced with hateful messages like "cursed oil," "neighbors," "don't look," and "point and stare." He instinctively flew into a rage, ordering his wife to call the police. After reporting it, his wife felt it was useless and suggested they move. "Will moving make things better?" she thought. "I assure you, it'll only get worse. Just think about it yourself." Jamie's father was adamant that they had done nothing wrong, had nothing to be ashamed of, and couldn't just sneak away. But as he picked up a cloth to wipe the car, facing the gossiping, pointing neighbors, he could only swallow his anger. Even worse, two boys on bicycles rode by, laughing and mocking. "How's the cursed oil?" "Cursed oil." Jamie's father was so enraged by the taunts that he couldn't even clean the car properly. He simply drove his wife and daughter to buy paint to cover it up. Once in the car, he reassured his daughter that after they returned, they could watch a movie and have dinner together. After all, it was his birthday. With the plan set, the atmosphere gradually became warmer. Jamie's mother recalled their first meeting. "Your dad wore a pink wig." Everyone laughed at him, but he didn't care. She asked their daughter to find the song they danced to when they first met. As the music played, the whole family felt incredibly happy. In their memories, they met at a social event when they were 13, Jamie's current age. The only difference was that his father had attracted his mother. At that social, no one was dancing, everyone was shy. The teacher was getting impatient. And at that moment, only Jamie's father bravely stepped out and danced in the spotlight. Although his dancing wasn't graceful, it brought laughter to everyone. The atmosphere became livelier, and it caught Jamie's mother's attention. They danced together, and then Jamie's father proactively walked Jamie's mother home after the social. This incident showed that Jamie's father was braver and more open-minded than Jamie. His way of attracting women was to confidently express himself, not to use deceitful tactics and get angry when rejected. But this peaceful scene was shattered by a store employee. "Hold on, I know who you are. I saw your face on Facebook." The young man kept talking about Jamie's father. "I just want you to know I'm on your side." He even argued that Jamie hadn't killed Katie. His reason was absurdly ridiculous. Katie had stab wounds, but they all hit bone. It wasn't fatal, plus he once saw Katie's nude photos, and he thinks Katie wasn't a good person anyway. At this, Jamie's father couldn't listen anymore. He cut the young man off, telling him to bring the paint quickly. In reality, the older generation didn't understand the slang of the younger generation. The disgusting words uttered by the stranger left Jamie's father speechless. Meeting this person left Jamie's father in a heavy mood. What was worse was that after he left the store, he saw those two boys on bicycles again. It seemed they might be following him. What did it feel like to be stalked? Katie, when she was alive, was stalked by Jamie and felt just as uncomfortable as Jamie's father did now. He walked over and yelled at one of the boys. "What's wrong with you? Was it you who painted my car, right? It's just a joke, but it's not funny at all, understand?" Then, he splattered black paint on the car. His wife and daughter were confused and scared by his reaction. No one spoke in the car. The atmosphere was stiff and awkward. At that moment, Jamie called. His father tried to remain calm until Jamie said, "I've decided to plead guilty, Dad." These words stunned everyone. Jamie finally told the truth. "I'm sorry, Dad. Happy birthday." After saying that, he hung up. How could Jamie's father be happy now? But to cheer up his wife and daughter, he went home, changed clothes, and prepared to go to the movies. Jamie's mother quickly stopped him. "Don't go to the movies anymore." Jamie's mother felt that now wasn't the time to pretend everything was normal but to sit down and talk to Jamie's father, advising him to accept reality. In truth, Jamie's father initially didn't believe his son was a murderer until he saw the video. Everything became clear, and he had to believe it. But how could he accept that his son had become a murderer? In contrast, Jamie's mother was more understanding. In fact, she was the one who cared for and raised Jamie, so she knew him somewhat. A child doesn't turn bad overnight. At first, Jamie just stopped talking to his family. When he came home, he'd lock his door and play on the computer until midnight. Jamie's mother increasingly blamed herself. Perhaps if they had started supervising him more closely then, things wouldn't have come to this. Jamie's father felt helpless. What should we do now? The internet is full of adult content. It's hard to guard against. But Jamie's mother felt he was just shirking responsibility. Can't we even raise one child? Jamie's personality was exactly like his father's, easily angered, impulsive, and emotionally unstable. Jamie's father also began to doubt himself. Is it our fault? But he had never hit Jamie, never. Because he was often abused by his own father when he was young, he swore he would never hit his children. Is that also wrong? I did my best, we tried. He took Jamie to play soccer and boxing, but Jamie had no interest. When other parents mock him, he now thought back and felt immense regret. At that time, he didn't have the courage to look at his son. Thinking back, Jamie didn't like these physical sports. He liked drawing. As a father, he had overlooked his son's interests and hadn't offered any encouragement or compensation. Due to busy work, they lacked in educating their children. Later, Jamie became more withdrawn, stopped drawing, and started burying his face in the computer. They didn't pay much attention, just thinking, it's fine, isn't it? Yes, we all thought it was safe. How could he go astray just by staying in his room? Jamie's mother hugged her husband, comforting him. Don't be too upset. This isn't something they could have foreseen. But now, looking back, Jamie choosing his father as his guardian seemed to indicate that he had foreseen his father's easily deceived and quick-to-anger personality. As long as he denied the crime, his father would protect him. If it were me, I would have handled it better. No, you can do it. At this moment, their daughter walked in, interrupting her parents' conversation. Compared to Jamie, their daughter was much stronger. When her parents worried about her being bullied at school, she said she had been bullied to some extent, but they couldn't move away because of it, as escaping wouldn't solve anything. Although moving might bring temporary peace, once this story came up again, they would be in the same situation, unable to keep moving indefinitely. In short, Jamie was their family, and they had to take responsibility for Jamie's mistakes. Their daughter's words help her parents calm down. How did we raise such a good daughter? Just like we raised Jamie. Thankfully, they didn't only have one child. Jamie's father couldn't hold back and went into Jamie's room, bursting into tears. It would likely take a long time for him to accept the pain Jamie had brought upon their family. This is the thrilling psychological crime drama series Adolescence. What do you think of this movie? If you liked it, please comment 111. If you found it just average, comment 222. Thank you for watching our video. Goodbye and see you again.